Alright, should be recording. Can I see the files? I need to find the right. There it is. Yep, I see him. Yay! Yay! Continuing Little Nightmares. No, no. Timer. Oh, timer started. Yep. Alright. Yeah, so we just, at least in theory, killed a guy. Yay. I mean, he was chasing us with a shotgun trying to kill us, so it's self-defense and all, but still. We did push this into the water, I'm guessing? Oh, did I pick a terrible spot to stop? Like, this is a transition? I mean, it's either a terrible spot where it's like, hey, chapter 2, or it's a great spot in that this is like the end of a chapter. It just is. Yeah, I have no track. That's the thing about it now. No, I had the test system built when upgraded. No, maybe I didn't for Resident Evil. Because I know I did some tests. That might have been with the Visitor cleanup detail. Yes, I may have been with the Visitor cleanup video. Or I just use those as reference to see that tweaking the FFmpeg scripts to potentially perform a little bit better. Did not find that, but I did change it a little bit so it should keep this CPU a little cooler. Originally, I had it do I had to do basically everything in one step. I split it into 2 steps. It is no faster in the end, but it is painfully less work for the CPU. And I kind of like that. But less work at anyone. Really, though, it... Oh. That's a play. That reminds me, because in the last part I was talking about how I've been pulling off some movies, putting it onto my media server. Dark City, I have not pulled that off. I don't know if I will. It's a fine movie, I just don't know if I need it on the server. And that's the case, you know, I'm putting the movies on there and such where it's like, I want that copy on there so I can just, yeah, I feel like watching this. I'm gonna start it. That's more of a, it'd be more deliberate. You know, deliberate enough that I want to actually grab the disc, or just I don't think I'm gonna watch it in any kind of near term, so why spend the time and take up space? Those 6 terabytes is a lot of space. Now, true, I've filled a 5 terabyte drive, an 8 terabyte drive, with the archives of all the Body and Games video, but it's like that there are. I don't. There are some. It's like I've got not only the upload version, I've also got the archive version. Yes, that was in fact not necessarily the best place to stop this with, but whatever. It's all good. But yeah, it's still my archive copies are 20 or 25 megabit that I keep them at. Hang on. I just thought of something I do. That? I guess it is still fat. I have film grain turned off, but the size of the recording for the previous part does suggest to me it is actually kind of knocking on that, on the upper limit that I have set. I mean, this so looks like something I'm supposed to get up there and do something. I don't know how I'd visit. One movie I did put on there is Murder by Death, which, if you know the movie, you know why I'm thinking about it. If you don't know the movie, watch it. It's a hilarious. Don't let the name fool you. It is a hilarious. Oh, I did not even notice that was open. Oh, okay. I see what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I thought I was needing to jump off. That's why I ended up releasing when I should not have. Yeah, I know. But I want to explore over here. No. Alright. Now, yeah, the lines are very. So it's I know. When talking about the lines, it's what I mean is if I right now I would think if I hit S and D that I'd actually be like going parallel to the wall. No, I'm not. It does, and that doesn't make sense. S and W, so forward and back are. That's what I mean by the lines are weird. So it is like the lines are still relative to the lines we see on the ground. So, you know, like right over here. That's still forward and back, regardless of the camera. It's just the player only knows the camera. And that is something I could see with a controller being easier just because of its, joysticks. And also that you might actually turn yourself on the joysticks, even subconsciously. Matching the camera. Nope. I don't know. Thought maybe grab onto it. Seriously? I was holding shift, he just didn't run. Ah. So let me just think. I've got probably about 3 or 4 weeks before this video comes out. What all is going to happen in 3 or 4 weeks? Like what kind of prediction or anything? Hey, one thing that would be really neat, and actually might happen in 3 or 4 weeks, is starting to see laptops with AMD 7040 series CPUs. It's like based on what they described for them at CES, I do think that that's what I'd like to find in a replacement in a new laptop upgrade. I mean, it is technically a replacement, but you know, replacing an i5 4200U. Look that up. It's not bad. It would be a significantly faster integrated GPU, but to be honest, I would also enjoy finding it with a discrete GPU. Like that's what I'd like to find. Like, I don't care if it, I don't necessarily care how many threads it would have. I'm not. Okay, I was supposed to. Kind of weird. Like 6 cores, 8 cores. But I would like, you know, to be a 15-inch laptop. I'm happy with my 13-inch, but I would like something bigger. And a discrete GPU because, and I talked about this before, I've actually managed to cause graphical corruption doing CPU-intensive work on a laptop. Seriously. It had to pull that much memory that because the integrated GPU has to share the memory, it started artifact. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it was doing stuff with performance data. Nothing. None of this data, because this data is so smooth. I mean, as it is right now, I think altogether I still have less data, less of this heart rate data than even just one review or performance analysis. So yeah, it's easy. It's also why I've been learning some things that allow me to speed up, do some new and neater things with performance data applet, but I'm not even going to touch the applet for this because why? I legitimately don't believe it would benefit. It's so simple compared to that one. Well, no. Let's see if I can. I don't know. It just feels like I should be. Like there's something silly that can happen. Oh no, it was a hat. Okay. That shouldn't smell. We're in a school now? Yeah, that. I'm gonna look around before we pull the switch that we obviously do pull. Like this. Wait. Now the ball. I don't know. Oh, one thing just could talk about. So with the whole media server stuff, I've been looking into different ways well, into doing. Do need to apply the. Just got a text in case I didn't come through micro. I don't know what was. Ball. But yeah, so I've been using X265 to do the re-encoding of the movies that I've been putting on the server because it looks good and it's very fast compared to using any of the AV1 encoders that I'm aware of. SVT AV1 is very fast, yes, but it also looks not very good. But it's also just this. If I care, though, and want to do it with AV1, I will use the Ravel encoder. I think that it's faster than AOM, than like the reference encoder, but it preserves detail far better than SVT. It's still very slow, but I do feel that it needs to be sped up and have other improvements compared to SVT, which is like, it's fast, but it needs to not look like crap. But it's still, X265 is giving me like, maybe I'm 10 to 20% larger file size, same quality, but I'm also getting it like 10 times faster, getting the file done 10 times faster. And it's just, whoop. Now, it has been a while since I played Little Nightmares. I think I kind of remember finding kids, but I also seem to remember you eating them in the end. Or something like that. So I don't know how much bringing these kids with me is really a good thing. Ow! I was not expecting a second one. Seriously? Really? Ha. That is why is not a way forward. I was just about to say, that looks like a way forward, but I want to explore over here first. Nope. I see that trap. I don't know. I really not sure what. Maybe I do set up a trap and things will do. Oh no, that was part of the trap. Well, to get me over there. But I figured out. No, just look for the raised up pole. Like this one. Oh! Ow! That at least was kind of funny. Yeah, I needed to duck, but I wanted... my reflex was to jump back. Okay, that was supposed to happen. Wow. Strong. Guess what? I want so. That also reminds me, I got, what, 1 or 2 levels left in this. And once that's done, my plan is to then start working on... okay. On, Left 4 Dead. Well, Left 4 Dead 2, but I'll start with the Left 4 Dead 1 levels. Nope. Not. I know what I want to do. It's just like do trick. Oh, I keep going further. Even though I am doing this work with 265, I'm not going to shift to using that. It's still too slow. Maybe new desktop, because ideally it will exist, though it may not. 24 core Threadripper. That'll be Zen 4 or 5. Probably Zen. Hopefully they will bring back Zen. Sorry, bring back Threadripper with Zen 4. I mean normal Threadripper, not Pro. I do still believe that the reason we didn't see any Threadripper 5000 is because it the whoop is because of supply constraint. That they needed to serve Epic, they needed to serve Threadripper Pro, and they needed to serve Consumer Ryzen. But Epic and Consumer Ryzen being the two most important. Then Threadripper Pro, because I could definitely see that makes you a lot more money than Threadripper. And hey, one thing I did see, Intel is apparently working on Xenon, which is promising. Because that's creepy. Okay. But working on the product that Threadripper would be heating. So it is a promising thing that the Intel wanting to re-enter that space, because that should encourage AMD to do the same. Okay. That was I don't know what else I'm supposed to do but run. Yeah, maybe at that point, because that's such a fast processor, especially for video encoding. I could see that being... I don't know if I'd go to AV1, I may still go to just 5, but doing that... Like, as far as the performance would there be, performance managed, all that. But definitely as I do see more about AV1, I mean, there's some neat stuff about it, but it does really seem like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're making it so complex, so hard to encode, that's really only good for decoding. Which is great for streaming purposes, but not for personal use. And also, it's like one of the technologies in there, initially, I was like, hey, this is actually, you know, kind of clever, kind of neat, but then, you know, looking at some video, I realized, wait, this is actually a really dumb idea, it doesn't work. Grain synthesis. The idea that you denoise video and then you basically stores metadata in the file saying, hey, when it's being decoded, hey, put more, put film grain, put noise into the output. Because noise is what is so hard to encode. That's why I did see there's a way to turn off film grain in this, so I did, so it's gonna encode a lot better. And for film, that seems like a great idea, because film grain is always going to be there. Also for video. Image sensors, which is true, won't... The noise there is going to be more static. It's not going to be varying from one frame to the next. It shouldn't be as significant. But it still occurred to me, because I was watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Film grain changes in a film. I mean, it does. It really does. Unless film grain is literally the grains within the film. Within the film stuff. The larger the grain, the more light it can absorb at one time. There we go. Okay. So, if you have, like a nighttime shot and using film in that, you use a faster film, so it has larger grains, typically. Well, that's fine for film, but it's... Now, there's going to be a scene in the movie that has far more grain than others. So how do you properly denoise and then put the noise back in? You would need some way to go through and basically measure the film grain per scene, and then set different denoising and different synthesis levels per scene. Can that be done? Probably. Like, technologically, it should be possible. Is it done? I doubt it. It is a neat concept, but I mean, for this game, it would be perfect. Because if I had the film grain on, film grain shouldn't be changing throughout the game. But in an actual movie, in an actual film, that is not true. So it's one of those, it's a neat idea, but practically, it's not actually going to serve the purpose you think. And that, by the way, doesn't surprise me. Because of the simple fact that I would not consider the Alliance for Open Media, because it's like, what, one of the big pushers in that is Google. They in fact donated a lot of the VP10 code for use in AV1. And I could, it's like, they're not compression experts. They're certainly not film experts. So it wouldn't surprise me that they wouldn't have thought, oh, wait, this doesn't work for practical film. It doesn't actually work for movies because it does vary. Are we going to have something in there that'll take care of this for the user? Maybe in AV2. But yeah, it's... Also, it is interesting how... And I've seen people share this criticism of AV1, people with more experience with me, that a lot of it is being designed and developed around satisfying specific metrics. Like the VMAF score, which is supposed to be a valid way of comparing image quality between videos. Only thing is that it seems not so good. I've looked at some things where it's like, yeah, it's saying that it's a terrible VMF score, and I'm supposed to be able to see. It's supposed to be so bad I should notice this difference. But I look at it, it's like, I couldn't tell you. And I don't think that's my eyes going bad, or something like that. Yes it is. I think it's more that, no, it's the score itself is just not the most reliable. And so the idea then of trying to target that is foolish. But then it also does just seem odd, the idea of actually trying to go by certain analysis metric, as opposed to approaching it more in a quantizer type method. Where it's not a question of, does this look good? It's a question of, how much are we throwing out? Are we throwing out a lot of data? Are we throwing out less data? I mean, now, true. I don't know how some of the codecs have been designed. I just know that 264, it is quantizer. At least part of it. Okay, I was hoping to actually climb around the stack. Oh, now it is. Alright. But that also wouldn't surprise me why 265. And I do see people talk about how, yeah, if you want to preserve fine detail, stick with 265. Or 264 even. Don't bother with AV1. That it does soften images. So it is a neat technology, but it does seem like it's more hype than high tech. Oh, I just realized we got to change it. Alright. Well, I mean, this seems I got 2.5 minutes left. It seems a good spot to stop, because I don't know what to do next. Alright, yeah. See you next time for part 3.